Chris Bowling.
Brad Johnson.
Bottom Line Thursday. We're back again.
We're
Brad,
back.
what do you have for us today?
There's a study I've been keeping an eye on. I'm sure all of us have. It was called the RAND Hospital Study. Right.
Probably you.
No one knows what I'm talking about, but I know I'm a geek. So this nonprofit think tank, they have been studying for a number of years. It's like their 5th edition of the study, but what they do is they compare what private insurers pay hospitals for things versus what Medicare pays. And we all know there's a differential, right? Medicare historically and arguably underpays hospitals what they need to collect. So the offset is that private plans have to do it.
Right.
But I think that differential seems to be getting greater. And I'm sure some of that has to do with the fact that Medicare isn't bumping up their prices as quick as any to post-COVID and all the stuff we've talked about before. The average on this study was that a private plan pays about 2.5 times more than Medicare.
Wow.
For something, and
wow.
You think about that. That's big numbers, and they go state by state, which is interesting. So then I obviously had to download the spreadsheet because who wouldn't, right?
If it's there, you probably should.
So I actually went into the appendix, downloaded it, and actually, if you're in Iowa, it's better news than other spots. Iowa it was one of the lowest, I think second to the lowest. It was 1.84 times what Medicare is paying. Arkansas was the lowest, like 1.7 or so. Georgia was the highest at 3.45, so 3.5 times.
Wow.
Illinois was kind of right at the steady average of about 2.5-ish.
Okay.
So get your care in Iowa and then drive back home, right, to Illinois.
Just like your gas and all the other things, right?
Yeah, right. That's true. So I just found that interesting. And
we've always said this, but to actually have the numbers, of course, the stats help validate the comment, but we've always talked about that. It's the private payer that is keeping the clinics and hospitals open because Medicare doesn't pay what they need.
Yeah.
Really supports. Byron and I were at one of the large BUCAs, talking to them about what's happening. And of course, we have a local hospital that's having some issues with one of these carriers and renegotiating contracts. And this supports exactly what the issue is that this local provider is getting paid less from Medicare, and they need more out of, all of the commercial payers.
Yeah.
And of course, the carrier's like, well, I'm not going to go that high. I mean, because we all know what happens. And it's still funny because you talk to the consumer, they're like, why aren't they settling this? You'll be the first one to complain when your rates go up 20%. That's why they're not settling.
Exactly. But we've talked about this before, though, too. All of those providers, the hospitals, the clinics have been in a 3 or 5 year contract that are starting to open back up again. And they've gone through inflation of wages, of supplies, everything that everyone else has seen, and they haven't been able to change their rates. It makes sense, but it is difficult that that's on the backs of our employer groups.
Well, and what, Brad, medical inflation's kind of been stuck at about 8 to 8.5%. And I have a feeling, to Chris's point, when all these contracts are coming up to be renegotiated, I think that 8.5 is no doubt is going to go up.
We're seeing it locally, and I know people outside of the Quad Cities watch this, but a big provider locally that is kind of at loggerheads with a big carrier in town, and it's a big deal. They provide half the care, basically for hospitals. So and I'm sure a lot has to do with the COVID stuff we've talked about. Hey, they got to make up for those lost dollars. So I agree. I just think that differential is going to continue to expand between Medicare and private pay. I've always wondered, like, at what point is it unsustainable? Almost seems that way now. I know I've been saying that for 10 years, and so I obviously am a horrible predictor of what what is sustainable or not. But I don't know. At some point,
good to see the stats and actually see what's happening in our local area. Thank you, Brad.
You bet. I can send you the spreadsheet over the weekend if you want to review it with your families.
Yeah. We'll have a nice little family gathering and we'll go through your spreadsheet. I love it.
That sounds great. I'll send it right over.
Thank you for doing this.
All right.
See you guys.
See you next time.
We'll see you.
Bye.